Hello everyone, hope things are well. It's happened, Spanish football, it has happened. Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid is set to be held in Miami. Spanish football is heading to the US of A, just groundbreaking stuff. And I know when you guys would have seen that in social media, well, the first things you'd be asking is, will the Premier League go to America? Will the Premier League actually leave the UK one day? And I know it's easy to say now that it's never ever going to happen, but I'm willing to bet if you had asked that question to any Spanish fan 10 years ago, they would have said no chance would Spanish football be potentially sought on a yearly basis to have a couple of games held in America. And here we are now. Barcelona is going to America to play Atletico Madrid. So in this video, I feel like it's appropriate to obviously to tell you my personal thoughts on it. Would it be possible where it could actually happen to the Premier League? And more and obviously about Newcastle United. What are the long-term damages this would cause to our football club? Because I think there's a lot of problems this would actually have on Newcastle, and also problems where the Premier League could potentially use it as an advantage to their bigger clubs. And there are a lot of possibilities to talk about in this video, but the first and obvious point being for the Premier League on a long-term basis, it would heavily damage us in a tourist sense. The reason why the Premier League is so popular across the world is obviously because of the standard and the fact that we do have some of the world's best players, but also because of how inclusive it is. If you want to watch a Premier League game, you've got to pay the big bucks and you've got to come all the way to the UK. And because of the fact that you have to travel to the UK to watch it, it's almost like everyone's checklist. You know, one day I'm going to go to England, I'm going to watch the world's best league. We're going to go to Manchester, I'm going to go to London, I'm going to go to Newcastle, I'm going to go to one of these places and we're going to watch the Premier League. But the point of this being is that once America has this, so let's say America every single season has 2 Premier League matches, our American tourist audience, they're not going to travel to the UK, most of them, unless they want to see a select club. Most of them, if they just wanted to see a Premier League game, they're not going to travel to the UK to watch it. They're just going to go to Miami, they're just going to go to New York, they're just going to go to LA, wherever the match is being held, they will just watch it in America instead. They'll pay a lot of money for a ticket and they'll just watch the game in America. So we would actually lose out on a tourist audience, which in Newcastle, which will affect our city, it will affect our hotels, it will affect us in a hospitality point of view. Now Newcastle, and I believe basically every single team in the league at this point, we have hospitality packages that are, I would argue, are designed for a tourist audience. Our most expensive package, I believe, is the Wings, £800 a game. To put that in perspective, my season ticket, I reckon, cost me £650 for the entire season. One match in Wings, you are forking up £800. Now, ask me this question now. What Newcastle fan is paying that every single game? There isn't one really. It's going to be for companies, it will be for businesses, it will be for tourists, or be for wealthy individuals who want a corporate experience, who want a high range experience for, of course, a costly price. So when you take away the US audience, because now they can just go watch the game in America, we would lose out on that tourist audience every single match. Yes, we'll still get the American Newcastle fans that want to come on at St James's Park, want to come watch the game. We won't lose that. But in terms of a more casual fan that might have been, you know, I fancy going to Newcastle to watch a game, or watch a game at St James's Park, who may not be too fussed about what team they want to go and see. Now, those fans are more likely just to stay in America and to watch the American games every single season. As for the matches in America, we need to answer an obvious point. It won't be random games. It's not going to be 2 games out of a hat to play it in America. Southampton versus Ipswich Town will not be a game held in America. And I believe for Newcastle, we're probably one of the teams that the American side of the Premier League, once they have an agreement for something like this, I don't think Newcastle will be a team that they probably want to have played in America. I think it'll be the biggest of the biggest games. So it'll be Man City versus Manchester United. It'll be Arsenal versus Chelsea. It would just be the top range teams, including the big 6. Now, for those big 6 teams, of course, travelling across America, your manager, your full squad, it's going to be an inconvenience for those teams. So I believe the Premier League would offer those teams a package, so it'll be a bit of an inconvenience package. So each of the teams that have to go to America will get payments for doing that, so they get given an extra few £1 million for actually having the game in America. Therefore, those teams that are benefiting from travelling across America would then be allowed to spend that money on the FFP and on the PSR. And I think Newcastle would miss out on that, because I think it's more likely that Newcastle wouldn't be one of the teams that would get selected to go to America, which, of course, is a good thing for us as fans, because that means we don't have to travel to America and we won't miss out on a game because of the fact it's been held in a different continent. But I believe it will benefit the bigger teams, because they get to go to America, they'll be earning all the money, they'll be getting all the additional support, they'll be getting new fans in America, which of course will help them in a financial point of view and also to help them in terms of a global brand. But Newcastle, I believe, will miss out on that package. So therefore, when you look at the teams in the league, it's going to benefit some teams, the bigger teams, and it won't benefit a team like Newcastle, because I don't think the Premier League will pick us. I think there will be a few select teams, and it'll be the top range. It'll be the best of the best of the best, and I don't think Newcastle would be a part of that potential long-term scheme. Of course, in terms of some short-term issues, the obvious point being is that, well, there's going to be protests. I think it'll be very similar to this new league they were trying to do just before COVID. Fans were protesting out all the stadiums. They got put to such a high pressure where this new Super League just got called off because fans protested that much, and fans are so heavily against the Super League that they had no choice but to put their hands up and go, you know what, we're going to cancel the Super League. But they've tried to do it before. Don't forget, this was something that was attempted to be done before by teams outside the Premier League. So, of course, I think Barcelona, Real Madrid, Juventus are the three major teams, but also Liverpool had official club statements out where they said that we are going to be part of this Super League, which meant that the teams would leave the UEFA competitions. They'll have their own league. It would have just destroyed football, would have changed football so much. And this is something that has been attempted to be done before by clubs, so you can't say we're never going to get to a scale where there could be a potential breakaway league again. And I feel like something like this within the Premier League, if there was to potentially sell the rights and have a couple of matches held abroad every single season, then yeah, I think there'll be a massive outrage from clubs and a massive outrage from fans, and I don't think it'll be good long term. And that's not a concern, because again, it's something that you do have to think about, because you've just seen it yesterday. Spanish football has done it, so why could another country potentially not do it? So it's an interesting scale to sit on, because I know for an American fan watching this video, and I was straight away they'll be saying, get in, I want to see this happen so bad. I want to see Premier League football in America. And that's understandable. Again, where people are from in the world, of course. For you guys, it's such a long distance. For you guys, it's such a lot of money to put into Premier League football. But it's our sport-based kids. It's our league. It's something that we've had for so long, and it's something that we as local fans, of course, have the privilege of having in our country, and it'll be a massive damage for our country if we lose the rights. So if some matches are no longer in the UK, it would damage our country quite a lot. So we do have to be very protective about it. I know in American defence, they'll say, well, Adam, we'll have NFL, American football, 2 matches a season down London. We do this for you guys, why couldn't you do this for us? It's not comparable, in my opinion. I think the Premier League is just far bigger than the NFL in terms of finances, in terms of people watching, in terms of just overall revenue. The Premier League is so much bigger than the NFL, and it's just something, again, that we can't sell these rights. We've got to keep it in the UK, and I feel like if we do that, then it's just something we have to do. Otherwise, I feel like the Premier League will just shoot themselves in the foot. They'll have a short-term game where they earn such a large amount of money from America, but on a long-term basis, I think it would damage us back home in the UK. I think there would be a lot of long-term damages on all the clubs and also on the UK fans. And there are quite a few dilemmas in this, though, because it's not just in the future what could potentially happen. I feel like it's now as well. Now, something that started to be pointed out by a lot of fans on social media, which I have to agree with, it's just how the atmosphere has died down over the last couple of years. And that goes amongst every single club, not just a Newcastle thing. But all these corporate packages now, every single team is being forced almost by the Premier League to earn additional revenues. Every single team is now just corporate package here, corporate package here, corporate package here. And it's just killing our atmospheres in the Premier League. And I feel like a lot of fan bases now are starting to mention this over the past 3 or so years. The atmosphere is just not the same. And I don't think it's been the same for Newcastle since the takeover. We've had a couple of occasions, of course, like the PSG home. Obviously, big matches where we get massive results. And yes, the atmosphere is different. But on a week-by-week basis, I think our atmosphere is quite poor at home. I think it's poor on a week-on-week basis. I don't know what that'd be. Maybe that'd be all the corporate packages we've got. Maybe it's just the fact that Newcastle's a much better team. That was the way I expected to win. Therefore, when we score a goal, for example, fans just aren't as excited as they used to be, because we're kind of used to scoring goals now, I guess. So I don't know if it's just because we became a better and bigger club, then fans are kind of just I don't know, become used to winning games, I guess. It's weird, but the atmosphere, I think, has been poor for us over the last couple of years, and I think it's the same. But basically, a large majority of teams in the Premier League. So maybe it's not even a form thing. Maybe it's just the corporate side of things. Maybe it's just how Premier League football's been over the last couple of years. But it just hasn't been the same for me. It just hasn't been the same as it was 5 years ago before COVID struck. It just hasn't been the same. The atmosphere and just the overall energy we bring into this, and it's just a real shame, to be honest. It's a real shame because I don't know what it's been with Newcastle this season. It just has been flat. I know the football hasn't been great. I know we've had some poor results here and there, but it has just been flat this season for us. It just needs a bit of energy. It just needs something to give, and then we'll have a bit of form going. But I just feel like everything this season with Newcastle's been flat. And I think for the Premier League, when you watch the matches every single day and when you watch all the different clubs, I think a lot of it feels quite flat as well. There's a few big results in there, but when you take the big results out of it, again, I think the atmosphere on a week-on-week basis in this league is just nowhere near as good as it used to be. And it's a real shame to see where we are now, but I think a big part of that has been all the corporate side of things, and of course that was the big topic in this video because of the Premier League PSR rules and because of the FFP rubbish. We've had to have all these additional sponsorships and all these corporate packages in now, so our fan base is just not as good as it once was, I guess. But yeah, that's where we are now. Of course, as I just mentioned in the intro, a big case. Spanish football is heading to America. Is that something you agree with? Of course, I've been heavily against that in the video, and I've gave a few reasons for that, and I do stand by it. I've been to America before. Obviously, it's so lovely ever in America. It's so nice kind of seeing these major cities and seeing these massive stadiums, and everyone over there was lovely, and it's an experience I never forget. But I personally believe Premier League football should only be in the UK, and I stand by that. I fully stand by that, and I think it will have a lot of long-term damages on not just Newcastle either, but for this league as well. So I'm so adamant, and I'm so certain on my stance. I fully stand by that. It needs to be in the UK and the UK alone. But what do you guys think about that? Do you think I'm being biased because I'm from Newcastle? What do you think? I would love to hear your thoughts down below. But that's it in terms of this video. Scary times it may be for some people, but I still believe for at least the next few seasons the Premier League won't do anything about that. Of course, you got to remember Wrexham versus Birmingham City was a match this season that was attempted to be played in America. EFL immediately shut it down. But I don't think that will always be the case. I reckon even if it's 10, 15, 20 years, I'm willing to bet at some point there could be a breakthrough for the US of A. And I'm not fully convinced they're always going to stand by that mold that we're never ever going to play outside the UK, because I still believe money talks, and that's the times we live in now. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. Wish you all the best, and we'll see you all in the next one.